Hello, IK. Welcome to the role of Gemini large language model in my application analyzer, e-commerce analyzer. The goal of this application analyzer is user type text in natural language. Gemini AI LLM transform that text, from that text create SQL query, and the server send that SQL query to MySQL database, and the result coming back in coming back here in user interface. Transfer text, natural language, to SQL. It is a role, here it is a role of Gemini AI. For achieve that, succeed in that, I created this application. We can call it Analyzer. It is a standalone application for user ask with natural language, ask what want from database. Here is we start with the user interface component. This component, what we see, that component there is a form. Every form is a meeting point between real world and abstractions in the software. And in this form, we can type question in natural language and put button Ask AI. Now, I go ahead to show you code behind this form. Press button Ask AI. It is event. It is event in abstraction in software, and the name of that event is on click, and that on click event. In this situation, it is this button HTML element. There is a attribute on click, and that on click attribute, what is an event on click, that attribute, that on click, call handler of event. Complete event is typing prompt, press button, and on click must call handler, and that handler must save the prompt in memory in some state, must send request to server, that prompt put in request, hypertext transfer request, and send it to server. Okay, let's see behind of this what we see on the screen. Text prompt will be saved in state prompt. Fundament of every software, every application is state and function, variable and function. Variable or state memorize, create reference and location in memory for that value for that variable, and function is dynamic. Transfer, for example, here, a function fetch AI articles send prompt to server here. Axios library, method post, and the endpoint, here it is, endpoint on the server, and the send request, post request to that endpoint on the server with a new variable equal prompt, what we type in form. Server will response, and that what server response would be put in this state response, in this variable, what we created, what we declare here with the constant response equal our post request. Here is a endpoint app post articles AI. And that endpoint, it is function here, declare inside of body of that function, we declare variable user prompt. It is object because of these curly brackets, inside curly brackets. We declare object user prompt and equal request body. Request is object, request what coming here in endpoint, and object request, there is a properties body, and in that properties body is prompt, is our text prompt. Now that text, prompt text is here in user prompt, but server need SQL, and this text is nothing for server. Because of that, server calls here, calls generate SQL from vertex helper function. That helper function, I coded in separate file because of better maintenance. And that file I call vertex.js, but I can call it how I want. It means now here in Vertex we have a function generate SQL from Vertex with a prompt. And that function call need help of get data schema helper. And result of get database schema function is state schema. Get database schema function is here in this file, get database schema, and that function take and know how it is coded. This defining of that function is to go to my SQL database, take complete, make photo of my database, my relation database, and that is result. Everybody who call this function will this function will return schema, would return complete design and name of all elements, tables, etc., columns in my database. Would be returned. It would be returned, that schema would be returned to generate from Vertex generate from SQL vertex. This function is a calling function, call get database schema. And get database schema is called function. Called function return. And that what call function return, we put here in variable and name that variable schema. Declare constant schema variable. And now in constant schema is a complete pattern of my database. Declare also inside of function, in body of function, generate from it. Declare constant prompt, it is here a variable, and in that include schema, variable schema, and include instructions, and include user prompt. It is original what coming from user interface, and that user prompt coming like parameter. Look at from server, like parameter to this function from server. Altogether is a new prompt. And now helper function generate ready to call method of Gemini model, Gemini large language model, Gemini AI, method generate content. And in that prompt, in that parameter of that generate content for that method is prompt, this new prompt. From generate content method, model Gemini return SQL. Gemini converted natural language, translate in SQL. But of course, for that, Gemini need a schema of that database. Without schema, Gemini would be hallucinate. And now that result would be returned, here it is, would be returned to server. And server now would be ready that SQL send to MySQL, received response of that MySQL, and that response send to user interface, and user interface see on the screen table with the quarterly sum of orders and the graph of that. Here we see user interface call server, but server need help, and server call helper function. Helper function also need help, need a schema of database, and call function what will return schema. Also, helper function must give instruction and include original prompt. Schema, instruction, original prompt is a new prompt. Go to Gemini LLM, Gemini AI. And now when we look at how LLM, AI, what we call today artificial intelligence, is blind, can nothing do nothing does without helper function. And when we look at who organize, who orchestrate all that, it is a server function. Server orchestrate, call helper function, but and the result of helper function would be clear SQL, ready, server send it to, and server orchestrate how? Call helper function return result to server, it is clear SQL, and server now send that SQL to database, to MySQL server, and the MySQL response send result back, and server response in object response send back to user interface. But server orchestrate, but not alone. Server call helper function, and server control what to do with SQL, with the result of that, and communicate with the UI. There is a lot of orchestration, but helper function also orchestrate. What orchestrate helper function? Orchestrate function need activate function, ask from function, return schema of database, put instruction what strictly need from Gemini, and put original prompt. Together it is new prompt, and together new prompt, create new prompt, send like parameter of generate content to generative AI Gemini. There is a lot of jobs for function, helper function also, and Gemini AI here is looking like organization. It is a role of Gemini here, of AI here, is practically a big role. It is smart, only smart, but this role is transfer text to SQL. But position in orchestration is very peripheral, very peripheral, because there is a lot of other who must all organize and serve to Gemini AI. How this is only some executor of some, here it is some periphery, but of course it is very important role, but a lot of other context and tools. Helper function is tools. Helper function need other helper function. Contact. Helper function must contact database. Call function with no contact database. Of course, server, there is data for that. And here when we look at here, we have a lot of contact. User interface contact server, server go helper function call other helper function. That helper function go to database, coming with schema. First helper function use that schema, instruction and original prompt, together create prompt and go to Google Cloud and ask method of LLM generate content, and generated content is SQL back to server send it to again to MySQL. A lot of contact, but if we know that data flow and understand it, we can be developer. We can think as developer, and like every learning, at first it is a big obstacle to first step in that. But when you go inside and see complete story, like one of that is here, you developer enjoy in his work like any other in his work, and you see, a developer is not programmer, is not only programmer. A developer is a man who look at wide, who look at all image, what happened, how data flow here in this application, how use AI model, and of course, developer will thinking and more of that, but developer must know program, must complete no program, but don't need program now. And when you look at all that together, that helper function, that context and tools, every function is tools also. And the artificial intelligence need one helper function, one tool, second helper function. And we have a connection with the database also. It need helper function connect the database. All that tools serve must be orchestrated from somebody. Here is orchestrated from server, but server delegate a lot of job to helper function. And helper function organize, orchestrate. Second helper function for database schema, orchestrate instruction and original prompt, and orchestrate Gemini AI. Gemini AI is total passive here. He's active in reasoning, in to be smart, transfer text, his head, but all other is total passive, waiting that some other orchestrate all tools needed, and some others ask from him, prepare all what needed, and ask from him, from it, generate content. I want that you, after this my video, can go and learn about LLM, concretely Gemini in cloud, Google Cloud, and you will see a lot of terms What I maybe don't use here, something use, something not, but you will understand because this is a live example, a live actual example in application, can what can grow, what can go in production immediately like it, and would be very, very interesting for everybody. You see how it works, and when you learn, when you read about LLM in around internet in millions locations, for example, uh, LinkedIn, another you ask you query, you will understand all that. Because and contrary, if you only learn like theory from that lesson, uh, you will be confused. You will be confused. Must be example, and here you have example. You can come back to that example in this video and other about, and better understand all terminology in official or not official in text about theoretic text about artificial intelligence LLM. Okay, if you know somebody that need a video like this, you can tell them. You can subscribe, comment, community around every video in my channel grow with every engagement. And growing community is better for all of us. We all learning if community growing. Thank you for watching this video.